Kids, we're going to do some live streaming. Might as well. It's good to see you. Good to be here. Thanks to Americans for Prosperity for making it happen. I still haven't figured out how to route everything so you get the station, but I'll figure it out. I will figure it out. Good to be here. Good to be with you. This Michigan story is nuts. This Michigan story is awful. I'll get to it in just 30 seconds. Nope, 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2. This story out of Michigan, repealing right to work, and they are so proud. They are so proud to let the people of Michigan know that you can only have a job if you give money to other people. If you're giving money to other people, then everything's fine. If you're not giving money to other people, well, then there's a problem. Well, what happens when I give money to those people? Oh, we give it to other people. Well, do I have a say in who those other people are? Not really. Well, what if I find those other people objectionable? Well, if you find them objectionable, you probably shouldn't be working here to begin with. Well, can I work somewhere else? Yes, but you'll have to give money to them too. And what will they do with the money? Oh, it's the same thing, so you might as well stay here. Can I say that maybe we should give the money to other people as opposed to the people you think we should give the money to? Absolutely not. Well, why not? Well, that would mean you're a bigot. I think I've got it all covered. I think I got it all understood. I think I've got it well in hand. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. Find everything tonykatz.locals.com. It is just that easy. tonykatz.locals.com. That's how you do it. The phone number, 833-GOT-TONY, 833-468-8669. They're so proud. Repealing right to work. That's what happens when you give the progressive left control. You already had a progressive governor in Gretchen Whitmer. You didn't get rid of her. Elections have consequences, and now you suffer. 2017 vote in the Senate. It's going to go back to the House, where, of course, it's going to pass. What it means is that you can be forced into unions. Right to work means you don't get forced into unions. You can join if you choose. So said differently, it's very obvious that the people who are favoring this idea of you're not allowed to be in a right to work state, you're not allowed to decide for yourself, they favor force. That is what happens when you don't allow people to make a choice. You say force. You're saying force first. You have to belong to this union if this shop unionizes, and you have to pay these dues. And those dues then go into the pockets of the political left who favor the unions and support things like getting rid of right to work. This is a really ugly, if not flat out violent circle that continually takes place. There's no rational thought that comes from this. There's no way to view this and say this makes perfect sense. It doesn't make perfect sense. It's hateful. It is hateful. Now, this is how the Washington Post wrote it. And I loved this writing of it because this writing of it really tells you exactly how far off base the progressive viewpoint of this is. And I must admit that we're having a real conversation here about exactly the differences between conservatism and progressivism, which is really the difference between you making your choices and others making the choices for you. Well, Tony, you don't believe that about abortion. You're right. When it comes to actual life, there seems to be a standard that the conservative holds to, but we'll get to that later. Such laws, meaning right to work laws, this is how the Washington Post writes it, have been credited with the dramatic decline in union membership and growing income inequality in the United States over the past several decades, as some workers choose to save money in the short term by not paying for union dues when it's optional. By not having forced union membership, by having right to work states, what you've done is increased the pay gap. That's precious. That is fantastic. Good on you. My gosh, George Orwell tips his cap. That's a pleasure. People make choices. And I'm willing to bet you all the money in my pocket against all the money in your pocket that everybody who runs a union shop right now is going to tell you that, well, we haven't kept up with things. Look at the pay gap differential. This is terrible. They guaranteed that's what they're going to say to you. They're not going to say, oh, well, you belong to the union. Everything's fine. Those people didn't belong to the union. Not fine. Do you think people don't know how to decide what's in their own best interest? Do you think they don't know how to take a look at a situation and say, wait a second, I see a better idea. Wait a second, I see a better opportunity. Wait just a moment here. Aha, it turns out if I put $20 into this organization, they will reward me with $200. If you tell me I put in 20 and I get out 200, I'm totally in. If unions were a great deal that provided a great value, people would do it without the coercion. And if unions were so benefiting the union member as to get rid of the inequality gap, whatever the thing they call it now, who knows? Every day it's different. Wouldn't they have done that on their own? I will bet you that they would have done that on their own because people are smart. I know this is seen as a anathema even to people on the political left and to some people on the political right. People are smart. Now, not everybody is an expert at algebra. Not everybody can find the area under the curve. Not everybody could quote the sonnets of Shakespeare. Not everybody is a historian. People are capable and are extremely good at recognizing, wait a second, that's good for me. That's not good for me. And they therefore make decisions based on those options. This is one of the reasons that we take a look at government largesse and we say, this is not a good option because it moves people from the option of, well, I got to go create a living for myself. I have to go to work. I have to support my family. And that is an option that, well, takes a lot of effort as opposed to an option of government provides this, government provides that, government provides the other. The other side of government provides this, that, and the other is that government then says, okay, and now this is where your vote is because these people, they won't give you this, that, and the other. The creation of the dependency class. Again, the conservative opposes the concept of the dependency class because, well, being in the dependency class is not a value. It's destructive of the soul and of the mind. It creates no value, and it's important that people create value in themselves, and sometimes going to work is that value. Looking what you created at the end of the day, looking how you succeeded. That's better than things being handed to you and doled out to you, spoon-fed to you. That doesn't create value. That creates something that's missing from the soul. But these people in Michigan are cheering this. The union folk are flat out cheering this all over the place. Oh, they're super duper excited about this idea that they're going to repeal right to work and you won't have any options. But if it was such a good deal, you would have made the option anyway. They don't bring a cogent argument and they don't care. It needs to be understood that they don't care that they didn't bring a cogent argument. That part doesn't matter. What matters is that you get another 500,000, 2,000, 5,000, 42,000 people, whatever the number is, paying dues to then push to the politicos who will then push for further union opportunities. My God, you think that there's a crime family in New York who can come close to this? You think there's a crime family that could, my gosh, this is special. Well, unless, of course, they're getting part of the union dues. You know, that could be very possible. You never know. This is as organized crime as it gets. And the result of the organized crime is candidates getting dollars based on coercion. I said that right? Yeah, I said that right. No, that's absolutely correct. That's absolutely correct. Their money is taken from them for the pleasure of actually going out there and trying to create a living for themselves in something that they want to do. And they're told they have to belong to this group. I'm actually not an anti-union guy. I've never been. I find union leadership to be abhorrent and disgusting and twisted and sick and altogether awful. And certainly I oppose force. Coercion is force. Now, you can argue that coercion exists in everything in life, and that's a really fascinating conversation, one that requires a bourbon and a cigar and sitting down and really engaging. You can't have this job unless you give that guy your money every week. Tell me how that's tell me how that creates a better society. Tell me how that creates more value, that coercion, that theft. And again, free market at play. If the union was really providing a better life, wouldn't people flock to it anyway? If the union was really creating better wages, if the union was really creating better opportunity, wouldn't people naturally fall to it? Of course they would, because people are smart and they do what's in their best interest. They do what creates them their opportunity. Now, sometimes you have people who go the other way. I'm talking about in the main. This idea that somehow people are incompetent, incapable, fools, whatever, it's an awful way to treat people. It's ugly and it's gross. And when I see it from politicos, I'm like, you're sick, twisted, you know what? If the union shop was better, people would have already gone to the union shop. But the union shop is not necessarily better. And that's why I get such a kick out of what the Washington Post put here. Such laws, right to work laws, have been credited with dramatic decline in union membership and growing income inequality in the United States over the past several decades, as some workers chose to save money in the short term by not paying for union dues when it's optional. They made a choice. And they're very happy, one would assume, with their choice, because they didn't have to be forced into a union. They could have just joined if indeed the shop had a union. So Michigan will make this official soon. It is now up to Midwest states that border Michigan that aren't crazy. And so that would really leave Indiana and Ohio, right? My beloved Indiana and Ohio, to put up signs that say, hey, Michigan sucks. Come to Indiana. That's the sign you got to put up. Michigan hates you. Indiana says, welcome, open your business here. Or, you know what? You don't even have to say Michigan hates you, although they clearly do. Open your business here. Indiana, we think you should have a say in your life. Anything. I don't know what Ohio's going to do, but I don't live in Ohio, so I have no idea how they're going to approach the thing. If Midwest states aren't jumping on this, trying to pull businesses out of Michigan, they're nuts. Missing a golden opportunity. And for the people in Michigan who realize, hey, this is ugly, maybe I got to go somewhere else, I encourage you to move. But leave that garbage where you are. You know, I'm a guy who left California and came to Indiana, and I was welcomed with open arms because I didn't bring any of the crazy of California with me. No, you're nuts. I'm leaving that behind. I got the gig, but one of the reasons I left, it had to be left behind. It had to be left to the side. You can't bring that with you. Tell them. People want to move to Indiana from Illinois? Do it. Do it. Just don't bring any of that Cook County crazy with you. Leave the Cook County crazy there. Just leave it with J.B. Pritzker and that state and enjoy the collapse. Come to a place that's rational. So there's a theory that you don't do that. And I still know people who live in California who believe you gotta fight for this. No, you don't. That's not necessarily true. I believe in the end, you may be crying like D'Arconia in Atlas Shrugged, but John Galt is right. Some things cannot be fixed. I loved my time in California, adored my time in California. Wouldn't move back to California if everything depended on it. And you got to let California fail before it can be better. The lights have to go off. That's what has to happen. If Michigan is going to treat people this way and not be a right to work state, people have to leave Michigan and businesses have to leave Michigan. We're not going to put up with this. Bye. And then you leave that crazy behind. You come someplace else that welcomes you with open arms, and you don't bring the crazy with you. You don't go back to terrible, awful, dreadful ideas. And forcing people into unions if they want to work is a dreadful, awful Terrible idea. I mean, just the worst. Keep it here. I'm Tony Katz. Guys, I appreciate you being a part of the show. We're going to start streaming bits and pieces of it eventually. We'll stream even more of it. I really do very much appreciate you. And don't forget, find everything at locals, tonykatz.locals.com. Greatly appreciate that. Hold on a second. Hold on. This is a comment. Michael thinks I'm misrepresenting right work. You're saying it's forced membership on the member, but it's really forced representation on the union. All employees can choose not to join and pay dues, but they still get to work under the rules of the collective bargaining agreement. And the company must extend all of the benefits of the agreement to the employee that chooses not to join and pay unions. I think that the larger scale argument would be that if the union provided value, people would join. And I believe if we're looking at this clearly, that the union can you have to be part of the bidding of the union, and therefore dues get paid. Right? The dues get paid. That's the part that's forced. So I don't think I'm off in my understanding of it, even if there is a more, as you're writing here, a more directed type of definition. I don't think I'm off base on concept in the I don't think I'm off base on concept in the slightest.